Yo, what's up guys? Today I wanted to show you a little replay I recently played with a friend of mine. Um, as you can see in the overlay, we played Dracotail versus Vanquish K9. I decided to showcase this one because Vanquish K9 is a hard matchup for Dracotail, and there may be some people out wondering how you can beat it. First of all, this is not gonna be the cleanest run with the deck ever. I'm also still learning. I'm also making some mistakes, and it is just like playing for Yu-Gi-Oh with friends. So if you see any misplays in the video, just tell me in the comments. Yeah, but this video is gonna be like a little like quote-unquote replay analysis. Just because I wanted to like tell you what I'm thinking through the match. And I got another one I could look over if you want to see it as well. We can just go over it in the next video, but this one is already pretty long, so yeah, just tell me in the comments if you want another one. So yeah, let's go into it. I think in this match, by the way, I'll make it double speed because otherwise it's way too long if I'm still talking about it. I think I'm going first in this one, and yeah, exactly, I'm going first. You see me normal summoning Molulu. Okay, first thing about this play is I was normal summoning Molulu, and I had obviously ways to fusion summon in my hand. The idea of activating Rahu before using Molulu is that if my opponent chains a Fuvalos, I can just chain the Molulu, and depending on the hand, I could first of all either use Molulu to fusion summon my whole hand so that Rahu can't resolve, um, or I'll just chain Molulu so that my opponent only gets one draw. So that's the idea behind this play. I was doing it recently, and gonna be honest, I like the play. And yeah, I was just using 5 mana and the Rahu, and then you can re-add the 5 mana when you send it, and you can also set a spell trap, obviously. And yeah, this is probably just basic standard combo. And I already did one misplay in the next scenario. Um, so using 5 mana is obviously right. And I used the Mululu from field and the Urgila from hand. With 2 cards in my hand left, I had another Mululu, as you will probably see later. And I should have used the Mululu in my hand. Just like fuck on the knowledge. But the Mululu on field would have been another interruption because it's another fusion summon, and this would have probably went out better from me. But yeah, so I think in my hand there was a Nibiru and a Mululu. But this way we still get both traps. So yeah, just standard combo, I guess. And then you can also re-add the 5 mana, putting back your cards, and just showing the opponent which trap is, and then he can play. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I'll still lose this game, just because of the Mululu incident. I think in this deck it's not that much of a problem if your opponent knows much of your hand, just because you're mostly fusing it or using it away anyways. The only knowledge your opponent doesn't want to give you is like reveal hand traps for fusion. Like if you discard a nip and re-add the nip, obviously the opponent nips. Okay, what I did here is I'll use the 5 mana to fusion summon, because I decided to pop the Jokul with Gulamel, which is later you're gonna see it's wrong, and so that I can then bounce the Jiaolong just to like make sure he like has to normal summon. But that was not that great. Because the idea was obviously to force him to normal summon. But for that I could have also bounced the Jokul. And then I just set some follow-up. And here he hard draws the Lantern, which now is very, very bad for me. So basically I summoned a Arthalion, as you can see. And for example, if I would have summoned a if the Malulu would still be on field, I could have just used another card from hand for 5 mana. or just use 5 mana to fusion summon Arthelion and Gulamel into something else, like Secretarian, because I knew it was Vanquish, or like Mysterion would have also worked, and then use the Molulu to fusion summon into Arthelion with the Molulu in hand, so then I could negate something of it, because now the only interruptions I still have is the Nibiru in hand, I think, and the buff traps, and the rest is just gone. And that's just because I used the Molulu from my field as material. So yeah, I was just revealing my graveyard. And the thing is, I cannot stop the Jokul ad and the Lantern ad, which will lead him to a Izuna, and the Lantern will just grab him Case, I think, or the Quick Spell, I don't know actually. Yeah. So in this match, you need to, especially versus a matchup like Vanquish Soul, if you just like put up your standard board, you need to sequence your interruptions very very well, because this is a very high skilled matchup. Because like bouncing the Vanquish Souls is not that great. And in this scenario, I was just instantly negating the Case just to get a draw of it, because I knew if with the current board state and in his current hand, I just know one card in his hand, two cards actually, and the problem is that I have to interact with like some stuff, and then he steals the Arthalion, and I can trigger the Arthalion to come back. And the problem is with this play, he just forced me to nip here, because otherwise he gets rid. I mean, it wasn't really a force of the Nibiru. More like the trap, because the problem with the trap is I can only bounce face-up cards, obviously, attack position cards, sorry. And yeah, there he summoned the National in attack, probably for the number C104. And yeah, this is like a monster negate on field, which doesn't matter because there's no monster effect in my hand. I was just bouncing it to get another draw of it. And I think I actually drew some decent cards follow-up wise, but he then like has Izuna. And yeah, at this point, he still hasn't normal summoned, which I completely forgot actually. He drew the Lupus, and then on summon Lupus I nip, as you can see. And I was just praying that there's no like Vanquish Soul monster in his hand, because I knew Jiaolong, but then he normal summoned Madloff, and I think I just picked up my cards immediately, because this is 100% game, because this is still main phase 1, and I can't do anything about it. This is just full combo. I knew he has a fire in hand, so even if there's no other Vanquish Soul in his hand, he can also bounce the Madloff with the rock from grave, but this is like hand knowledge, and it's just game at this point. Like there's no monster, and yeah, I was just picking up my cards. Yeah, exactly. I drew the King of the Swamp and the Lucius as follow-up, and yeah, he was just telling me that he was about to like switch Nibiru in attack and kill me with my Omen Nibiru token. And yeah, I'll just try to skip a little bit for okay, yeah, that's it. So basically, like to sum it up, I probably threw the match by using the Molulu from field. I'm not sure if it has changed something, because it was like that big of an engine hand with a actually decent engine hand. So that was not that good for me, obviously. And yeah, that's problematic. Like if your board is minimalistic, Vanquish Soul with like a 6-card engine hand can theoretically just easily beat your board if they play it well, and that's why you need to play it 100% correct. During side patterns, we were talking about using the interruptions, and the first thing I thought I could have done different is the instead of popping the Jokul, bouncing the Jokul. But the reason I wasn't doing it was because you can just normal summon it, and then there's no removal for it. I mean, I could have used the Horn on it, but then I would have used like 3 interruptions just to bounce just to not make the Jokul resolve. But it would have been better. But if I would have tried then to pop like the Jiaolong, he could have then chained Caesar, and with the attributes in his hand, he could have also forced like one of the traps. So that wouldn't be that great either. So Yeah, I think in the end, even if he couldn't OTK, this is like pretty hard. And yeah, I think in game 2 I will go first again. Yeah. There you, by the way, can see my side deck. Um, right now, currently my side deck, I think I never talked about it earlier. Right now I'm on 3 Droll, 3 Phantasme, 3 Lancea, 3 Ghost Spell, Talents Called by, and Quakimaru Drago. So the reason of Ghost Spell is just to siding in going first versus Canine versions to stop Izuna. Um, Talents Called by, I don't think I need to explain, and Quakimaru Drago is the Seals target to go for versus Yami, Malice, Mitsu, Ryziel, Orcust, Fiendsmith versions. Like you can stop so many. Like the only matchup where you cannot do anything with the Quakimaru Drago is probably Vanquish Soul. They play Darks, yes, but the Earth and Fires are just too good to like for example versus Ryziel, they're Light and Fire, but they cannot special X, they cannot special Ice from hand, so they cannot go Extent Aggregator, which is pretty good. So you stop the power plays of the deck. I know they can still normal summon Ice, but sure. Also, Detonator cannot be summoned out of it, as well as King of the Pharynx. All Mitsurugis cannot be summoned. So you check that at this point. But versus Vanquish, all the Fires and Earths are like too strong. So the Quakimaru Dragon isn't doing enough alone. Also, if they hard draw Izuna, like if you play against a deck that summons a monster and tries to attack over the Quakimaru Dragon, you can just bounce it with Horn. And even if they like have an Ash Blossom or Ghost Spell for the trap, you can still like you survive the turn. So you just need to stop them from putting up a big board, so that you can then in your following turn beat the board and try to OTK, or as well set up a board that they cannot beat with either many interruptions, which probably is a little bit harder in your second turn, or like follow up hand traps, stuff like that. Or like if you play against, depending on the matchup, like if you're playing against a mirror match, you don't summon Quakimaru Dragon there, but they just set up Secretarian Dragon, or versus Yami you can go Mysterion. Like it depends. Um, yeah. Okay, this is actually a very long siding. Okay, yeah. I mean, as I said, we were talking about the matchup, and this is probably me going first again. And yeah, in this case, my hand was, I think, full of spells. I'm not sure about it actually. But yeah, I was adding 5 mana, and yeah, that was thinking a little bit because I first of all I thought I fumbled the combo, but I just forgot that Khadija doesn't need to like use herself. That's what we talked about. And yeah, as I said, I just forgot Cartesia. And then I used the Cartesia effect. We were talking about it, and I was like a little bit confused. And then I read Cartesia again, and then just realized I can use Fusion Summon without her. So yeah, that worked obviously. And then I could still like do some combo. I mean, it's still obviously not a very decent end board because you already resolved both spells. You got a trap, but you can at least go for a seal still. And normally versus Vanquish Soul you want not to go seals because bouncing is not the best interruption. But with only 5 mana and the trap like one trap, you need to go seals to get like Molulu. And yeah, you also get the Khadija back. So yeah, Summon Raisin. Like versus Vanquish Soul, what I'm doing is like just stop the first play because this deck is kind of bricky, so you can try to like still win it. And yeah, then you just go Seals, bounce the Raisin, and then Seals effect resolves, and you just summon a Mululu. Mululu survives because there's no monster on the field, and the Vanquish Souls and the Izuna can just special summon in main phase. So you have the 5 mana Molulu, 2 cards in hand, which I think was a Cartesia, exactly Cartesia and Ghost Spell. And then there's Holy Seal in main phase 2. And yeah. And like the thing is, you can here just when I summon Lupus, you know there's a fire in hand and 2 unknowns. So my brain was saying that there's probably no way there is a dark in his hand. Otherwise, he would have probably used Holy Suit to summon. And I was just thinking, okay, if there's no dark, I'll just wait him to summon Nash Knight or like any rank 5, so that I can interrupt with that to get rid of the Holy Suit, which worked. And he then like asked me for quick effects, and I was chaining Molulu, but I was still fusing of those two for Arthelion, trying to bounce the Nash Knight. And yeah, you can also get a follow-up spell by 5 mana, and the Arthelion Engrave also triggers because the Nash Knight like send it 2, and I get the Molulu back. And there's get 2 and the 5 mana, and they just scoop because there was just Duster and like the Raisin, and yeah, that's it. And also, I didn't even use the trap, so it doesn't matter that there was the Duster. And then we were siding for game 3. Oops. And here you can see, like, in my hand there was Droll, I think another Phantasme, another Droll, and I think just one Ketu. Exactly, I had 2 Droll, Phantasme, Ketu, and I don't know, the second card, the last card. And I will top deck the third Droll for turn. So basically playing with 3 Droll. I think the name was, oh yeah, you can see a Molulu there. And there's just gonna be a thrust for Black Goat, which can hurt, but the problem with Black Goat in Vanquish Soul, if they thrust it against you, is that oh, it was Rahu, not Ketu, is that calling Arthelion is obviously the best thing you can do with the Black Goat. But for Dracotail, the problem is that, first of all, you cannot summon your best card. Your second best, actually, after Shamana. And if you are not going for the OTK, they can use Black Goat to call Arthelion again, so you can summon it, but you can't use it. So that one of your interruptions in your opponent's turn isn't working. So basically, what I was trying is to just go full OTK through the Ripper and 2 cards in his hand. I knew one card was Case because he added off Lantern. And yeah, I think I then here just send a Pan or Urgula, I'm not sure, just to play around hard drawing the quick spell. Yeah, exactly, I was going for Urgula because with the Molulu I can obviously oh no, it's actually Pan. Okay, my bad. To go Gulamel, and then just because one of them will get negated by Ripper, so I decided to just go 1. And yeah, there's actually the quick spell, and the reason why I decided to go for the Pan instead is that one of them will not resolve, and like for example, if I send it Urgula and go 1 Molulu, 2 Urgula, he just negates the Urgula, so that he can then, yeah, the Molulu negates the Ripper afterwards, but he can still decide when to use the quick spell. So I decided to, okay, let's just go Pan and Molulu, use Molulu as chaining 2, so that Pan resolves and pops the monster. So if it's the quick spell, he either uses it right now, or the monster's gone anyways, and he decided to use it right now. Pops my Gulamel, which actually makes the Pan live to summon back the Molulu. So yeah, and we were thinking like if the Gulamel triggers here to come back, because it was gone before the thing left, and then we decided, yeah, okay, sure, it should have come back, and then just Ketu going for Lucius because we still have normal summon, then go normal Lucius, add 5 mana, and this is just gonna be a like OTK play in a probably pretty wild way, because I cannot summon Arthelion, which is 3k, so pretty problematic. And by the way, if you have 5 mana in your hand, you can use 5 mana to fusion summon. Like I said, in my hand is Droll and Phantasme. They are Spellcaster and Dragon, so you can use both to summon Mysterion or a Secretarian Dragon, even on your opponent's turn if you didn't draw a single Dracotail. So 5 mana works that way too. And that was just making a quick math. and decided to okay. I'm not sure if he plays Nibiru because even though I knew it's Vanquish Soul, I'm not like 100% aware of his deck list, and there was just using those two for Secretarion, and then Secretarion revived the Phantasme afterwards, and this is 2.8 plus 3k plus 2.4 Phantasme stats, I guess. Um, and I knew there's Lupus around, so I need another way to still get rid of the Lupus, and Lupus cannot use some main phase, so I was just calling end of main. And then in still main phase, you can still use Molulu to summon out a second Gulamel to secure a game. Yeah, there was just a quick math. And yeah, you will probably see like the Lupus can still use the effect to XC summon into Typhon, but there was like the reasoning behind attacking with Secretarian first. Like, if you get a replay and this is the only one that it can beat over Typhon, and this is just exactly lethal, because the Gulamel has 2.8 twice, so it's 56, and the Phantasma has 24, so this is exactly lethal. And yeah, his hand was Holy Sue and the case, which obviously doesn't do anything. And yeah, that was the match in general. I think in game one, as I said, I could have played way better and do some other plays. Probably was still hard to win, but it was, I think, winnable. If you want to see one of the other matches, just ask me in the comments. I can definitely like go over replay again. If you have any questions to the deck, like list or like things, or if you have anything you noticed during the match, like misplay wise, just tell me in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye bye.